Welcome to The Art of Being Happy, Buddha's Guide to Modern Living from Jethavanarama Buddhist Monastery, Sri Lanka. This intriguing talk series brings timeless Buddhist wisdom to help you navigate life's challenges through simple, practical insights. Each episode offers gentle guidance for finding peace and joy in everyday moments. Join us on this journey toward lasting happiness and inner peace. Brought to you by Sanathanavani, the voice eternal.
If you cannot be a good human being, you can never be a good Hindu. If you cannot be a good human being, you cannot be a good Christian. No church would deny that. Because all these religions, what they want to do, these philosophers, what they want to do, by exposing the Dhamma, giving these expositions, what they want to do is to put humanity back into the hearts and minds and souls of human beings. It's not lost. You could not have become human if you had lost it. You could not have become human if you didn't have it in you. It's there. At least a modicum of it is there. We have all been given an opportunity of life. This opportunity of life, ladies and gentlemen, to cultivate our humanness. We don't all start off as great human beings. We start off as humans, but we don't all start off as great human beings. We are kind of like neither good nor bad. There are tendencies, right from birth, there are tendencies. That is why some of you are born human, you're all born human. Some are born male, others are born female. Those are tendencies. Those tendencies are it's your heritage. You inherit that from your previous actions. And then from the moment you set foot on this earth and you open your eyes for the first time, you see your loving mother, your father, and you breathe in that first breath of air, fresh air, and you see the first ray of sunlight. From there on starts the clock. It's a gift. You are presented with a gift to cultivate humanness. Good human values. So we try going to school for the first 13 years of our life and figure out whether we can learn it there. Some of it, yes, we learn at school. But then school is not always what we expect it to be. I don't think your parents expected that you would learn everything you did at school when they sent you to school. There were things that they wanted you to learn at school, and there were things they didn't want you to learn at school, but you'd learn them nonetheless. But then such is the same everywhere. Society teaches you a few lessons. As you walk on the street, you learn a few lessons. You spend time with your friends, you learn a few lessons about humanness, what it means to be human. Then you ask around and you ask people, what else should I be doing? And then someone says, dear child, you are a Christian. We will all have had that experience at some point or the other. I will share with you my first experience of this. It's quite funny, actually. So, my parents told me that I was a Buddhist. It's one of those things, isn't it? You're a Buddhist. I'm like, okay, why? No, you're a Buddhist. Don't ask why. It's one of those things you're not supposed to ask. The only answer they can give you is, because? Because what? Well, we're also Buddhists. So if parents are Buddhists, then inevitably, children are Buddhists. So that's why. I really don't know how it works in families where the two parents are of different religions. I mean, it must be amazing how they work it out, right? Whether the children are going to be Buddhists or Muslims or Christians or Hindus or a Buddhist by day, a Christian by night. Who knows? I've not found myself in that particular situation, but I expect it must be quite interesting. I'm very inquisitive as to how you work that out. Would you flip a coin? Or no, just get the kid to, draw drafts or something? How does it work out? Or is it the one who has the louder voice at home and then it gets decided? I don't know. There must be some logic behind it. It's still an unanswered question for me. So anyhow, they told me that I was a Buddhist. I didn't know what it meant to be a Buddhist, but it's just one of those things I had to say when people asked me. So from a very young age, I was in a country where there were hardly any Buddhists. Actually, when I was very young, I went to a school, and that school was a Catholic school. So I learned all the hymns. And I was very good at that. So when we had singing competitions and so on, I sang out my love for God and how Jesus was our Savior and all that. I really enjoyed that. In fact, my music teacher, she was a devout Catholic. So it was a Catholic school. So I was quite young at the time, and my parents didn't know what being Buddhist was. So they were not, at home, they never said, "You are a Buddhist. Stop talking about Jesus Christ." That never happened at home, because if I'd asked them, so who should I be talking about? All they could have said was, "There's a statue up there. He's the one." At the Buddha? Because they knew that I was very inquisitive all the time. So if I'd asked them more questions, then they would have had no answers. And we were at a place where there were no temples, there were no monks, right, to go and show or ask any of these questions. And they were not very devout Buddhists either. So we didn't have this offering flowers or incense or water, none of that stuff at home. So fast forward many years, back in Sri Lanka, that's where the funny stuff happens. So when I went to school here, again, that was a Catholic school. So then there's some connection. I don't know what it is. But I went to a Catholic school, first time back in Sri Lanka, before I changed schools. So the first school I went to, they asked me this question in Sinhalese. They asked me, "Agamid?" I said, "Yes." So for the non-native Sinhalese speakers in the audience, Agama is religion. So the question that was asked of me was, "Agama." To me that meant, "Do you have religion?" I said, "Yeah, all of it." So full of it. So then they accepted me. I was so lovingly accepted. Because I was, little did I know that meant whether you were a Christian. So I said, "Yes." Well, I thought that was, "Do you have a religion?" So there can only be two choices, right? Two options. Either you are religious or you're non-religious. I didn't want to say that I was non-religious, not after singing all those hymns and right, after having committed and devoted myself to God. I used to really look forward to Christmas. I'd sing my heart out, express my love and devotion to Jesus and so on. I remember when I was younger, all those. So, but then I was a Buddhist. They asked me whether I was Agami. I said, "Yes." Then one fine day, there was a form that we had to fill in. It's for something or the other. And then on that form, it had this question, "Agama." So what is your religion? To which I replied, "Yes." "Yeah, but I am religious." That's what I've always been. At school, they've asked me whether I'm Agame, and I've always said yes. So should I not just be saying yes to this? No. Agame is religion. Agame means are you Christian? I was like, "What?" "But I'm a Buddhist." So that's the day I learned that Agame meant that you're a Christian. So I was very confused then. And then there was this really I was very fascinated by this very one particular song that came out when I was younger. If you recall, it was, many of you might have heard that song. It goes something like this. No, I'm not going to sing it. It says, Jesus, come back and save the world. Krishna, Allah. I can't remember the words now. It's been a long time. It's a very old bell, just about ringing. Colonial Cousins. Thank you. Yes, it was the Colonial Cousins. I was in love with that song. I truly was in love with that song. So whenever I had an opportunity to get on the stage and sing something, that was the song I always sang. You know why? Because I felt that in that song, I found something so special, so unique, so me. Because he was talking about Jesus, he was talking about Krishna, he was talking about Allah. He was talking about so much greatness. And it was an invitation. Come back and save the world. The world needs you. Come back and save the world. It resonated with me. So then I began to ask myself, around this time, should I be a Buddhist? Is that who I'm supposed to be? Am I supposed to be a Christian? Or am I supposed to be a Muslim? Is that who I'm supposed to be? Just because my parents are Buddhist, does that make me a Buddhist? Just because I went to a Catholic school, does that make me a Christian? Who am I? What is my religion? It was a question that began to actually bother me. Back then, there was no one to answer those questions for me. I read about religions, watched documentaries, programs, and every program I watched, and pretty much every book I read, here's the thing, this is why I didn't like them. They all said that only that religion is right, and everything else is wrong. Sometimes it was said very subtly. Very subtly. I don't mean the actual scriptures, not the holy scriptures. I mean books that people had written. People who couldn't understand what those religions actually meant. People of ignorance who picked up the Bible, read it, and interpreted it in their own ways. And in doing so, losing the spirit in which those words were uttered. People who picked up the Holy Quran, people with ignorance, and they read it, and they interpreted it in their own ways, because they had an agenda, because they had a religion. That was the problem. They had a religion. Just like when I was younger and I was a Sri Lankan, and I wanted to make a statement, but I didn't like reading those books, but I loved that song. Because in that song, there was never any reference to who was right and who was wrong. It was a bold, grand, all-encompassing invitation. It said, humanity needs you. That's what it said. That's why I like that song. So then I wanted to find out what those religions were, who those religious people are, who those philosophers are. I took their books and started reading them, written by worldly beings, just average human beings. And I was soon very, very disappointed. So I gave up on that quest. And I thought to myself, perhaps one day, when the stars align, one day, perhaps someone will come and teach me. Perhaps one day I'll find a teacher. One day I will see the truth. But that didn't happen for many years. So for many years, I just told myself that I was a Buddhist. If anyone would ask me, I said I was a Buddhist. If there was a form to fill, I said I was a Buddhist. But I didn't know what being Buddhist was all about. If you would ask me whether I was a Christian, I would have said, yeah, whichever, just fit it in. Because I wasn't prepared to believe or accept that those religions talked about separation or segregation. I didn't like to believe that. That didn't make sense to me. If all those philosophers come and speak the truth, how can the truth be divisive? Don't you think so, folks? How can the truth be divisive? Only a lie can divide. What breaks up a friendship? A lie. What forms friendships? The truth. So if something's divisive, it has to be what? Has to be a lie. Take any community. If there's some force, some power, something that divides that community up, then there are lies spreading among them. If there is some force, some energy, some power that's uniting that community, I tell you this, someone's there spreading the truth. Or the truth is in the air. Think about these words as you listen to them. When you have a little argument at home, husband and wife, let's say, what do you tend to do? You tend to, first of all, you go and try and consult an adult. Maybe a parent. And typically what do they say? Or at least what are they supposed to say? Set aside your differences. Be grateful. Appreciate the other person. It shouldn't matter which parent you go to, whether it is the girl's parents or the boy's parents, right? Whoever you go to, their teaching must be the same. Because if they wish for your happiness and your happiness is with the other individual, and they have accepted and that is why they have given you in marriage, then their words must be comforting, in other words, uniting, meaning they have to give you the truth. Then shortly afterwards, you realize that you were fighting about something minuscule, something trivial. And then you realize, well, what's the point of arguing about that? Let's just give it up. So now you give up a lie and you unite. In any community, this is so. But as I grew up, I started to look around and what I saw was the Christians, they kept to themselves. I don't speak, this is not a generalized statement. I mean, that is what I saw growing up. The Christians, they kept to themselves. The Buddhists, they kept to themselves. The Muslims, they kept to themselves. In fact, when a man of one religion sees a man of another religion, they actually identify them as a man of another religion. Something was wrong. I couldn't see it that way. I wasn't prepared to see it that way, but those were all the views that were planted in my mind. So, if all these religious leaders, if they come into this world, their philosophy is one of unity, how come when I see someone of a different religion, I identify them as someone who's different to me? That makes no sense. If the message is of unity, then how come when I see a man of another religion, I identify them as a man of another religion? Sometimes the first thing that you identify with someone is their religion, even before you have got to know their name. And immediately, inside, we have started dividing. This is why, in a lot of places today, in companies, workplaces, corporates, they don't even like to talk about religion. So we have this experience a lot. A lot of the work we do, social work to help people, to heal their hearts and mend their minds and so on. When we approach organizations, corporates and so on, they have these CSR initiatives and all that, right? So when we approach them and they see us walking in robes, they say, nah, Swaminathan, nah. Thank you for visiting us, but sorry, we can't help you. Say, why? Why can't you help me? Because you're Buddhist. Well, which part of me is Buddhist? The robe? This is just a fabric. Is it the bald head? I don't know. What is it? You're Buddhist. Even before we have spoken, you're Buddhist. Don't want to know. So we say, we're doing a school. We're doing a school for children from grade 1 to grade 13. right? And we want to educate them. We have around 250 children with us, and we want to give them a good education. We want to teach them values and virtues and humanness. And we want to teach them the truth. This is what we say, because that is the truth. I can't speak lies not after consuming the meals that you have offered me. It wouldn't digest in me if I spoke nothing but the truth. So I speak the truth and say, this is what we're here for. I say, yes, I get all that, but... So they look me up and down. So I know that there's an elephant in the room. And that is my robe. Because I go clad in a robe, I'm a Buddhist, and therefore what I'm doing must be Buddhistic, if that's even a word. And even better, if I went in a hijab, they'd still turn me around. They'd still turn me away. Say, you are Muslim, we can't help you. If I went in bearing a cross, what would they still say? No, you are a religious man. We can't help you because we can't be seen to be partisan, biased. Look at what so-called religion has done to this world. Which religious teacher spoke about division? I ask you. Which great philosopher talked about you should only love your own kind? Where did Jesus say, look after the Christians and to hell with the others? Where did Jesus ever say that? People have completely misinterpreted certain things. Now, the other day someone told me, because there was this extremism going on, right? From time to time you have this, right? For the simple reason that people interpret these great teachings based on their own understanding of the world. And it's such a pity when people do that and then they propagate these ideas. Someone told me the other day, because they were asking for my opinion, they said, I think it was an interview, they said this, they said, this gentleman told me, Swaminathan sir, I've heard that in Islam, it is said that God only wishes for Muslims to thrive, and that it is said that if you come across one who is not accepting of the Almighty, Allah, then you must be off with them. You must off with them. And he goes on to say, and it is this, and this is the reason why so-called extremism around this world, where people go on killing in the name of religion. So I asked him, well, what evidence do you have? He said, well, apparently it's in the Quran. I said, have you read it? No. I said, apparently it's in there. Well, apparently there's everything everywhere, right? I could have said, apparently your mother's a cow. No, apparently anything can be anywhere. I said, no, don't go by apparently this, apparently that. But if you want, I can help you interpret that. Even if that is what is in the Quran, I can help you interpret that in the way that it must have been meant. So he said, I'm all ears. What do you have to say about that? If you believe that martyrdom, killing in the name of religion, if you believe that in the Holy Quran it says that if the next person you meet, you come across, is not a Muslim, if he has not accepted God, then by killing him, you will go to heaven. Then you have missed the trick. Your intelligence has failed you. That is not the killing that you think. You have interpreted killing in your own way. Because you only know one type of killing. For that you need a sword. You need a knife, you need a dagger. You need a suicide bomb vest. That's the killing that you know. But that's not what God would have meant. That's not what the Prophet would have meant. What he would have meant was kill the sense of self. Kill the sense of self. If you come across someone who does not accept God, God being the truth, if you come across someone who does not accept God, kill him. Yes. Kill the sense of self within you. Because the sense of self, ego, is demonic. Ego is the force within you that goes against God. God is the truth. So if you can help kill one's sense of self, one's ego, then surely that is a sure and short fast track to heaven. What am I doing right now? I'm here to kill every one of you. Anyone and everyone who doesn't believe in God, I'm here to kill you all. Now you understand what it means, right? To kill here is to kill the ego within each and every one. It's what Adam and Eve did when they took a bite of the forbidden apple. They forbade God. And unto themselves, they took on the role of God. Meaning, a sense of ego overtook them. So from here on, I choose, I do, I decide. Meaning, you have given up your subservience to nature, vipak. The process of karma has begun within your mind. See, that is what we have to kill. So if someone comes up to you and says, these Muslims, they go on killing people in the name of God. Extremists. Don't you jump on the same bandwagon. Even if they were to say that it is said such words are said in the Holy Quran, even if it is said that, this is what the preachers preach in the mosques, we must have the intelligence to understand what is said. Don't you think so? So, that is what the Quran says. Yes, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to kill you all. I'm here to kill your sense of ego. Because once your sense of ego, sense of self is killed, now you become nature. If that is not an arahant, then who is? An arahant is someone who has completely surrendered, completely subservient to nature, to the truth. So, what do you take from all this, ladies and gentlemen? What is the gist of this? Religion was never meant to divide.
Thank you for joining us on The Art of Being Happy from Jethavanarama Buddhist Monastery. May today's wisdom bring you peace and joy in your daily life. We'd love to hear how these talks have touched your life. Share your experiences with us on +91 6361 803371. Until next time, may you find happiness in each present moment. Brought to you by Sanathanavani, the voice eternal.